I am curious, is Transistor quiet this time of year? Like customers and stuff?
Every week we report on how many customer support tickets we're getting, and it definitely, you start to see it like gradually slowing down. And then we're basically, I think John and I have some things to clean up tomorrow. Like we have some year-end stuff, and then we're kind of just off. From the 22nd basically till the 5th. We just check in on customer support while we're at home, but
yeah, I mean, like customer support on Clarity Flow sort of ebbs and flows. And this is the first time I'm going through a holiday season on builder methods. And I would say it has slowed. Like ever since I would say the first week of December was great. And then the second week, here we are, like after second or third week, I would say membership signups have slowed down.
Okay.
But I'm doing a live workshop on Monday, and those tickets seem to be selling like even better than the November workshop.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the topic, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That'll be for you. It could actually, in like halfway through the holidays, you might find signups increase.
It's hard to say. Like
I almost wonder if you want to prompt that. Like, it's pretty classic. Product Hunt was kind of famously a Thanksgiving project. You know, Ryan and who was the other fellow?
The only guy I know there is, I don't know him, but Ryan. I didn't know that there was another guy.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy that then co-founded Every with Dan Shipper, but his name just escapes me right now.
Oh, and I didn't know that Dan Shipper had a co-founder.
Yeah. The fellow I'm thinking of is the one who built Lex.page.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So anyway, famously him, Nate is his name, I think. Yeah. Famously him and Ryan built Product Hunt over Thanksgiving. So you might find that, there's some people that get a little angst, they got a little energy, want to build something.
Well, this is where my, I don't know, like, I'm going to just dive right into my like business insecurity thing that I just can't seem to shake. And that is like, every time I go at this point, like 24 hours without getting a new customer purchase for builder methods, I'm not just saying this, like I'm convinced that like it's all over. Like, I think for a while there that it's like, I've gotten my last customer. There's no more customers. I've gotten all the customers there are to get. That's it. And then I was thinking the other day, I was like, how crazy would it be if I literally got no new customers ever again on builder methods? You know, because like part of me is like convinced that is reality. And then I start to think about it objectively. I'm like, wait a minute, like 270 people or so have already bought this thing. Yeah. Why would this just stop overnight? You know?
Especially builder methods at this point in time, because I think all of us can see the massive wave of demand that is just accelerating. If anything,
and there's definitely things I need to fix and optimize and deliver more value and all that kind of stuff. But then I think about like the holidays and stuff, and I'm like, well, I never like to go to the excuse that like, oh, it's the holidays, it's going to slow down, or it's a weekend, like you can't expect, because my mind is like, I buy stuff on Saturdays sometimes, you know, and I do get customers sometimes on a Saturday or even on a holiday, like, so I don't like that excuse. I want to feel like my funnel is so strong and I have enough volume that like, I might get a lower volume on these holidays, but like, I don't want to go 2 days without a customer, you know?
I mean, it is helpful to think about the type of product you have and who it serves. And so if you're in enterprise sales, it's going to be slow over the holidays. You will probably not close any deals between now and the new year. But if you're podcast hosting, people are at home. They've got free time. They just got a new microphone in their under the tree. People have a mental to-do list. This is what I love about, is it Rob Snyder? He talks about how people have a mental to-do list that's prioritized. And that is like, people are operating off that list. And it's not something that they might even have written down anywhere. But it's like, as soon as I get a minute, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finally sit down and record an episode. And then I'm going to figure out how to publish it. Or, you know what? I'm going to figure out this AI thing. Like, enough's enough. Like, I got time. Everyone else is drunk from eggnog. I'm just going to take out the laptop and search how to build with AI. And then who do you find but Brian Castle? And now you've got yourself another lead and maybe another sale.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, what's the plan for today's episode? I don't know if you want to touch on, like, what are we thinking for this podcast in 2026? Like,
oh yeah, well, we haven't
do we
really
want to get back to panel people.
We haven't really talked about that.
Okay. I was actually asking Jordan about this yesterday, like after the recording, and because he's been doing his other podcast with guests,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, how do you? I was like, because me and Justin.
Yeah,
we just keep dropping the ball on like getting guests to come join us,
Yes, yeah.
And it's mostly like laziness and scheduling, and
yeah.
And his thing, and this has been true in my case whenever I've done interview shows, is like it's just better to batch it. Like if we we want to have guests at least for some episodes, let's just like I don't know, like Q1. Make a list of 10 friends.
Yeah,
send out an invite.
Schedule it.
Like grab a time sometime in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
So that like at least we have some of these Thursdays where it's like, oh, today there's a guest joining us.
Yeah, look who's showing up. Yeah. I like that. That's a good idea. If we just send out like we could do that right now. Just batch, schedule and invite folks.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, set up some sort of calendar system where it's like 1 or 2 of the Thursdays in a month are guest days, and we'll leave a few weeks open where it's just us.
I like it. Let's do it. Plan made for 2026.
Podcast goals.
I mean, that's kind of what we're thinking about doing today. And I'm actually, because you said, hey, let's do like a 2025 kind of look back and 2026 look forward. And I just had a bunch of thoughts. I was writing them down. I'm wondering if we can just jump into it.
Let's get into it, man.
Okay.
And this is my favorite kind of episode. I love this stuff.
I mean, mine are going to start out more general, but I think it'll be nice because you'll be able to jump in. When I look back on 2025, absolutely the biggest story was the shift that happened with AI and development. Those of us that were skeptical, those of us that were unbelievers, those of us that were, maybe a little apprehensive, many of us have become believers. So if at the beginning of 2025, I would have said, like, who do I know that's really kind of gung-ho about building stuff with AI coding, all that stuff, I would have said Brian Castle. And then as the year has gone on, it's like Adam Wathan, formerly a skeptic, now he's on board. Taylor Otwell, Aaron Francis, Ian Landsman, like John O'Nolan. There's just this list of people that I hang out with. And sometimes I imagine like we're all kind of hanging out in the same pool or something. And it's like, you can just see all of a sudden we're all swimming in the same waters.
Water's warm.
The water's warm. And, the models got significantly better. The tools got significantly better. And the momentum just shifted. And it was amazing to see you, go from the beginning of the year to now. Like that became your story, was just identifying this wave and starting to ride it.
Yeah, it definitely had an impact for me personally on my business and everything. But also, I am just like you. I'm also fascinated with observing the industry in general and the trend.
Yeah,
I noticed absolutely the same thing. It's sort of like half and half of the year, right? The first half of the year, like going back to 2024, and I was talking about the same thing on Bootstrapped Web yesterday. I did my biannual update with Jordan over there. But I definitely noticed this where like 2024 into like the first half of 25, there were definitely people who were very excited about building with AI. I'm just talking about like within the software realm.
Yes.
We're not talking about like the normies and in the world right now.
Yeah.
This is software people, right?
Yeah.
So there was still a lot of skeptics, and and even if it's like there was just a lot of people back then, like a year ago, where it was like professional developers, experienced developers were legitimately saying one of two things: either like, I'm excited about starting to play with these tools or incorporate these tools into my workflows in some maybe limited fashion. And then there were people who were just like, that's interesting. I'm going to choose not to use it. I'm not interested. I don't have to use it. I don't want to use it. It's not it's not how I want to build. I've always hand coded. I want to keep doing that. And that's fine. And that could be rooted in a lot of different things. Either they're just set in their ways, or maybe they literally just don't trust AI. They don't think it's good enough. So I think there was definitely that sentiment in 2024, early 2025. Fast forward to like second half of 2025, it's not like overnight everyone just started using it. There's still everyone today feels like they're behind the curve.
Yeah.
But I do think that the skepticism just started to fall away. Like in broad terms, like there's really not many professionals that I know anymore who are like making the argument anymore that like AI doesn't work, or it works badly, or you shouldn't use it, or it's not capable of doing real work. Like I don't think anyone really has that view anymore. And if they do, they're in a really, really tight minority, almost like edge case section of the industry at this point. That doesn't necessarily mean like everyone has actually started adopting it.
Yeah.
But I think the belief now is that it's like, this is inevitable. This is happening. This is here.
Yeah. There's still some question marks. Like, will this consistently generate maintainable code? Is this going to be like, we're still, it feels like at the front end, which is like once these apps get to 2 and 3 years old and none of us have written any of the code, are we going to be able to fix anything?
I think you're right that those are definitely real questions, but it's more about like, these are the questions that now we have to figure them out.
Yeah.
Because it's not like AI is going to go away,
Yes.
And I think a big part of it, maybe looking back on this time, I really think that like the release of Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5, they didn't really feel like it overnight when those things dropped a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I think looking back on it, like they really bring in a massive shift in quality and trust that we all have in these models.
Yes.
Like the tooling is always going to keep getting better and moving crazy fast and everything, but the underlying models are really where you see the jumps in quality, which leads to a jump in trust, right?
Yeah. Okay, now I want to shift now to the future. So that's kind of a look back on this topic, and I want you to kind of react to each of these. So all of this has obviously made me wonder what is going to be important for the future. What kind of people are going to do well in this new future? And you and I have talked about this, especially over the last kind of 6 weeks. But being a product person, being a good product person, is going to become increasingly valuable. Being someone who understands how customer demand is created, how it grows, how you can capture it, how you can identify it, identifying features that customers think are important. Someone knows how to translate that customer demand into an experience that satisfies that demand. This is it. And I was thinking, it's like, I think we're going to become more like film directors, where a film director's like, all right, we're going to set up the shot like this. Lights coming in from over here. Frank, you're going to say these lines in this way. Julie, you're going to respond like this. and then we're going to have an overhead shot. Like, it's all direction and setting. So they are crafting like a conductor in an orchestra or a music producer. They, like, you think about Rick Rubin sitting on a bench in a recording studio, and he's like listening. He's like, okay, let's bring in a little bit more of this over here and make this a little bit more like this. This is kind of the metaphor I'm thinking about in terms of how the kinds of people that I think will succeed in this environment. And
you mean like the person who can like orchestrate all the moving parts and also see the movements in the wave? And
there's just certain kinds of people that I think some employees have always been very good at like receiving instruction. Like, you know, there's been a lot of train operators in my family history, and it's just like, you got to receive instruction. Here's how we do things. Here's your goal for the day. Here's your list of stops. Like, and people are just good at ticking those off. I think that's going to be harder to be that kind of person, because now you're just going to be giving that instruction increasingly to a machine to say, okay, hey, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do this. We're going to go here. We're going to build this way. And people that could craft those experiences from a higher level. So whoever's, I don't know, planning out the train system and deciding where we're going to go today and all those kinds of things, they kind of see things from a high level, and then they're basically employing people to do all those roles. Film director, the same thing. Like, hey, we're going to set up the scene like this. This is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to feel like. Here's all the pieces. All right. And action. And then, you know, the LLM starts generating.
Yeah. It's like, I guess that does mean, I think you're totally right. And if I think about like people or my current team or my future team, yeah, so like I was just thinking about like a guy that I've worked with for many years in audience ops, and I've kept in touch with him since exiting audience ops. He was one of the assistants on the team, turned into like a lead assistant, really, really great person, fantastic teammate, worked with him for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been like emailing me maybe once or twice a year ever since then to find an opportunity for us to work together again. And I would love to find an opportunity for that. There have been a few times where we almost did, but he was sort of tied up in another role and couldn't make it happen. And so he just emailed me last week, and I'm thinking now, and like right now on Builder Methods, like I am solo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a lot of work to be done. I feel like I'm constantly super busy. Last night I pulled a late one trying to get this Design OS thing launched today.
I saw that. I was surprised to see that. We'll have to talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. So I'm hustling a lot, which makes me feel tired and makes me feel like I would love to delegate a lot more of my, especially the busy work, the setting up, the putting this over there, putting the things in the boxes, right? But I do have a hard time designing a new role for a human at this point, or really I should. And also the same thing happened when I had a video editor. I was working with a video editor on my YouTube channel for probably about a month or two, and I did stop that, at least for now. I took it back. I took the editing back over myself because I just found that, like, yes, like I know that I have like the perfectionism bug, but there's also the subject matter expertise that makes video editing really, really hard for my stuff. Like he can't pick B-roll for when I'm talking about technical sub-agents and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So like when I think about Builder Methods, and this is probably a pattern that I would think would translate to most other companies right now, which is like, if I think about a future role with me or in this company, it's a higher level, deep subject matter expert, someone who can create, who can think creatively, who knows the material, knows the space really well. I don't know what the role is. I'm not necessarily hiring right now, but like it would be someone who can, I don't know, like engage with members or help teach stuff or whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
so
think
it's like for a SaaS, I would assume it's like the senior product person is still super, super valuable, but the juniors, man, that's going to be tough.
yeah, I have some thoughts about juniors. I for anyone listening to this podcast, I think the hope for you is that we are these kinds of people. Indie hacker, bootstrapper, like every single person on the Transistor team is a self-starter, manager of one, highly, like self-actualized. And those kinds of folks are going to be the people that are going to do well, whether you're working for an employer or whether you're doing your own thing. Because one thing that hasn't changed is, yes, we know that AI can do a bunch of stuff, right? So in the same way that a train company could hire a bunch of train conductors and build a bunch of track and all those sorts of things, the train company's thinking, who's going to be responsible for that? Yeah, we could open up a whole new leg of the country and do all that stuff. Who's going to run it? And it's hard to find good people that can be responsible, that can take all of that ownership. Who's going to be responsible for designing, conveying the vision, designing the system, working through things with the LLM and people? Like, who's going to be ultimately responsible for that? And that's where that's where there's going to be a bandwidth problem, right? Is like, we want to get more done. Well, the problem isn't that we don't have enough laborers, at least in the digital world. The problem is we don't have enough kind of directors. We don't have enough people that can like take the responsibility for that particular scene and make sure that everything that needs to happen for that happens. And yeah.
So actually, a good example is this is a little bit of an update on Clarity Flow, but I think it relates really well here. Sandia, she started out as a very, very junior level developer in Clarity Flow. Started working on it, I think, over 3 years ago, three or 4 years ago, and she was like shadowing my current developer at the time, like really like out of university, like just joining the team, super junior. Based in India, and like most people who join the team are pretty good. She learned really quickly. Eventually, my main guy sort of moved on to something else, and she stepped in to be like the only developer. She's been the sole developer with me for the past 3 years, full time. Building all the features that we're shipping. She's building them. I'm directing them. I'm giving her direction, but she's really really building and shipping most of it. Fixes all the bugs and stuff. So over the past year, she actually built a lot of new big features this past year in Clarity Flow. But now, as we reach the end, our product roadmap is really slowing down. Like, we've actually built all the feature requests. Like all the big ones we've shipped now. So the product is really in like a maintenance state. We're doing some like quality of life improvements around stuff and like improving stuff, and sometimes bugs come in, she fixes them quick, but it's generally like a customer support game and a maintenance and quality of life game in terms of the operation, right? So as I talked about last time, I'm basically looking to remove myself from the day-to-day operation of Clarity Flow. And so I just gave her the message yesterday. I think the traditional way to think about this would have been, what do I do with my full-time developer, especially since our product roadmap is slowing down? And but she's like really great and really capable and a go-getter and a fantastic organizer, creator, director of product. She's really grown into that, and she knows the product inside and out. But the traditional way would have been like, well, I want to remove myself from customer support, so I would have hired a customer support person, like a separate person for that. Instead, I'm putting her into the support role, because behind the scenes, she's been helping with support. Like she would like answer questions privately, and I would just relay them to the customer. It was pretty inefficient. So now her role going into 2026 is like, staying full time, but we're going to shift a lot of that new product feature work into, she's going to just handle the inbox and talk to customers.
Love it.
But a lot of it is also AI. So like we started playing around with the AI bot, the support bot. But that still requires some babysitting and optimization, right?
Yeah.
And so that's still time that like I do review them, but like I don't really have a lot of time to really get deep and do all this like retraining of the AI support thing.
The problem for you is who's going to manage that project? Who's going to be responsible for that
project? Yeah. So that's like a big part of her project right now is like, yes, she's going to be directly answering customers, but a big thing is like, she's going to be reviewing and optimizing the training for our AI support, and probably even like building some software stuff on our back end to really make our training data really strong so that we have better and better customer self-serve systems. Like this is not about her training AI to replace her own role. Like I really just want a person, a super capable, somebody who knows our product inside and out, like a do-it-all. And I have absolute confidence in her, and she's excited to take it on.
This is awesome, dude.
Because I do. So the takeaway here that I want to share with people is that like, if you are at some sort of like junior level, or you're trying to pitch companies on, it's not just about having a great cover letter. Yes, of course you got to do that. But it's also about like, how can you be useful? And how can you wear multiple hats and suggest new ways for you to be useful beyond what your job title is?
Yes.
I really think that this person can do such a better job managing this support load and our self-serve support systems than a random customer support hire person who doesn't have the technical background and doesn't know our product inside and out the way that she does, So that's why like there are different and new ways to make yourself valuable. Even if you were hired with the job title of junior developer, you could suggest ways to improve your marketing operation or improving your onboarding or improving this or that,
Yeah. I had a bunch of thoughts about advice for junior developers given this context. And I think you actually identified something I hadn't even really thought about, which is if you, of course, this is difficult, but the game is, what's the hardest thing about handing over anything? So for me, like handing over video editing, let's use that example. Well, for me, the problem is someone would need to like intuitively understand so much context about who I am, what I talk about, the kinds of examples I like to use, the way that I do things, the way I think, all those kinds of things. It's very hard to hand that over. But if someone was sitting with me every day, if they showed up at my office every day, and it was just like, oh, it's video editing time. Sure, come on in. You sit here. I'll work away. You ask me questions. Yeah, I'm doing it this way. Oh, I'm going to go find this clip. Oh, I know I've got something in the archive about this. I got to go find. Then they watch you. Then you start to say, okay, you take some of it. You take some of it. Chris Enns is a good example of this. He's been editing my podcast forever, and he just kind of intuitively understands kind of what I want. And he can deliver it, effectively. So if you can figure out a way of getting in, and I also think about with Tuple, I'm going to try to remember his name. It was Stephen Dolan started working as Ben's executive assistant. And then gradually as that, he just learned the company, helped redesign systems, more and more responsibility. Then Ben was looking to get out of there. And it's like, well, who are we going to hand over the CEO role to? Yeah. Well,
went from assistant to CEO.
Stephen was able to make this massive leap because he had worked alongside. It was like, that's that transfer of knowledge, intuition, taste, all these kind of intangible things that make it so difficult to hand something over. That's going to be massive. And
yeah, I think if there's like one takeaway or one blanket takeaway from this, it's like it used to be like it's interesting to see how advice shifts given new realities, right? I think the advice traditionally has always been like, don't try to hire a jack of all trades. That never works. You want to hire specialists.
Yeah.
Well, I think now it's not necessarily that we all want to seek the jack of all trades, but it's more like the individuals should turn themselves into wearing multiple hats. Make yourself valuable beyond your one domain. You know?
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of nuance here. And so I'm trying to explain it the best I can, but because there's also, you can have employees that are trying to take on too much, or they're taking on things in a way that isn't quite the way you do them. And there can be a lot of friction there. But I think there is something about if you can put yourself in a place where, and this is why I honestly think for juniors and young people, you try to not get a remote job. Like if you can get in an office with somebody and you're just like, especially in an open office, my first startup jobs, the CEO is right there and I can just observe him all day. And
I wonder about that one though. I mean, I agree that like there's a detriment to the whole world being remote now for juniors. And it kind of sucks that they won't have that in-person experience that we grew up on in this industry. But at the same time, I wonder if like both, like it goes both ways, right? Like if like I don't hire locally in my zip code because it just doesn't make sense for my business, right? Yeah, there's probably some talented people who live around here, but like between finding the space and limiting my hiring pool to just my zip code, like that's just way too limiting to be viable, right?
Yes,
as an owner, as a manager.
From your perspective,
I wonder if it's also flipped, right? Like if you're a junior and you're seeking out these in-person experiences, if you're limiting yourself to only those companies that are only in person, that's a limited pool of companies that you can get in on.
That's right. But you're in dramatically increasing your chances. So the experience that people are having right now is they are in a pool of 10,000 people applying for the same job, and everybody's using AI to just, shoot these applications.
That's actually a really good point. You can just literally drive over to the place and be like, hey, I live here and I know this stuff. So
yes, or just start showing up. I mean, you can do this remotely. We were talking about, early in my career, I applied for a job at 37 Signals, and so there's a bunch of things that I did that I think replicate some of this, which is I was consuming all of their blog posts, all of their podcasts. Every time somebody got hired, I went and read the story of how they got hired and what website they used to get hired. And I put all of that into my first application, didn't get a response. But then I had Jason's email address. And so tastefully, every once in a while, I would drop him a note. They released this draft iPad app. I don't know if you remember that. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I know you're getting a lot of pushback on this online, but I just bought it and I love it and I think it's great. And I made a video. And I just was kind of staying in touch, applied again. And again, just incorporated all of this stuff. And there's a lot more to it than that. But so you can replicate some of this. But I think if I was a young person, I would move to a big city, a big dynamic city, New York, Chicago, LA, Toronto, and just start going to meetups, start hanging out, start running into people, and instantly, like, you get so much more, your profile gets raised so much more just by showing up at events and things like that.
For sure. Let's get back to the 2025 or 2026.
Yeah,
how are you thinking? Do you want to go forward or do you want to go backwards?
Well, what else do I want to say? Well, here's another reflection I had about 2025 that's a little bit of a switch. I had an old mentor that said, every business is a people business, every problem is a people problem, and every solution is a people solution. And as I was reflecting on this year, I'm just like, man, this is just so true still to this day.
How so?
So if I can get more tangible and personal in a second, but like if you aren't making sales, you have a people problem. You haven't been able to sufficiently motivate people to buy your product. Well, why? Well, because you have a people problem. You haven't been able to sufficiently, you haven't been able to identify what kinds of products people want to buy. Well, why is that? Well, you have a people problem. You haven't been able to identify what kinds of, able to identify what's motivating people right now, what tasks they have on their to-do list. So that's an example from marketing. But it's a people problem. Like if you and I reflect on this past year, everything, like if we're not, I mean, even like we think about some of the health issues you and I have discussed, that's a people problem, right? We have to manage our own health. And if we can't do that, everything, we're severely limited in what we can do. That's, I've had some kind of personal hardships in the family. And when that's going on, that's a people problem. I've got real stuff going on at home. It's going to affect my ability to do stuff at the office, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is true for motivating customers. It's true for motivating employees. It's true for the way that we relate to other people. Almost every difficulty, like if I get a DM from anybody, you, Adam, whoever, and someone says, "Hey, man, I got to talk to you about something," it's always a people problem. Always.
Yeah, and it's interesting how it's like the people problem is, of course, there's stuff with other people that are either close to us or not close to us. And there's always going to be things that are outside of our control. But I'd say maybe even more is the stuff where it's our own person that we need to, that is the problem, or that needs a new frame of reference to,
yeah.
And if it's like a personal health thing, it's like, well, what kind of routines or discipline or work or changes do I need to make to fix that problem? And as we get older, obviously that's a lot more relevant,
Yeah, and even being so, like for me personally, when I reflect on that for 2025, and then I think about 2026, I think one thing is, especially as kind of like we've had this remote culture, I'm definitely like, I've been a remote first person forever. Spiritually, I've been a remote first person my whole life. I just like love being in my own little place, being able to control things, being able to dictate how I work, all that stuff.
You do seem like the type that would thrive with an in-person office.
But yes, so here's the other thing. So recognizing these dimensions, and one thing I've recognized though, that as one kind of deficiency I've had as a person is I'm not very good with conflict. I'm really bad about bringing up difficult topics.
Same.
I've known intellectually, like, what's that old saying? It's like, face hard problems now, easy future. Face easy problems now, hard future, right? It's just like, if you just keep putting off the hard stuff, it just accumulates in the future. And one, I think, reflection for myself is that, especially in an AI world, for 2026, the game is to become more skillful at the human stuff, to become more skillful at, okay, how can I deal with conflict better? How can I force myself to develop some of these skills that are really difficult skills. And actually, I think increasingly, especially as you look at Gen Z, you're like, man, people have human skills are going downhill, right? It's like people don't know etiquette. People don't know, like my kids, we're still teaching them that, like, guys, when you finish a phone call, you say goodbye.
Yeah.
They're just like, well,
know,
like,
man.
all right. And then they're
kids.
just like, click, and they're like, hello? Did you just hang up on me?
Watching my kids try to like get on a phone call with my parent, like their grandparents, but it's not a FaceTime, it's a phone call, like old school phone call. They're completely lost. Like they don't, like, how does where do I speak into? Like,
they don't know how to hold the phone. Yeah. So these skills are not easy. This is the hardest problem, and it's always been the hardest problem in humanity, is dealing with yourself as a human, dealing with other people, figuring out how to navigate relationships, figuring out how to navigate just interactions. And it is challenging. And if anything, in our current world, we've gotten worse at it. It's just all gotten worse. We're all online. We're polarized. We're used to saying the worst, heinous shit to each other online that you would never speak in person. And we're also, we've developed this kind of performative emotionality and relationship where sometimes you hang out with people in person and you're like, are you filming an Instagram reel right now? Like, what, the realness isn't there.
Yeah. It's so tough, man. It's like, and like this past year, I haven't talked publicly about this. I'm not going to share too much, but yeah, like people in my life, my family, going through some like really tough times. And it's like how, like and then like for me, like these are people issues. So it's like, how can I be the most supportive person possible here? And sort of, and then like there's always the tension of like, there's so much I want to do to try to help, to try to move their situation from one reality to a better place. But then at the same time, so much of that is like, well, it's not me. It's not my life. I just want to help. But I can't push. And I don't want to be too, like, what's the word? Like, I don't want to like
prescriptive or
prescriptive
forceful.
or like at the end of the day, it's like, if they want this to change, like it's really up to them to make it happen. I can only offer my advice.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, I don't want that to affect our relationship. Like, so that's been a big one, sort of behind the scenes this year.
And I think our examples, especially in tech and the way a lot of us are naturally wired, makes it even more difficult. So if Steve Jobs is the prototypical genius founder, product person, visionary, like Steve Jobs would be great in this new era, he's a terrible emotional mentor or example, right? And not having good kind of examples and even language to talk about it. And so here, for example, here's something that I learned that I'm going to try to put into practice is, and I think the other difficult thing with this right now is that now our internet feeds are filled with kind of like neo psychobabble, whatever, right? And so that everybody's got an opinion, whatever. But like, here's an interesting way of thinking about things that I think relates to what you were saying is, as humans, we can basically make requests and we can have boundaries. So a request is like, to the kids, like, hey, can you quit keeping dishes in your room that get all moldy and then like it's just gross. Can you stop doing that, right? And I mean, parenting is a bit different because you can actually force people sometimes to do things. But generally, you can do a request and then it's in their court, right? So it could be like, I know here at Cowork, somebody could be really loud on the phone and I could make a request. Hey, can you stop being so loud on the phone? It just disrupts everybody else here. That's a request. But now it's in their court. A boundary is something personal. It's a personal line that you create to say, every time I come in the office, you've got your dirty jacket on my chair. I'm going to do something personally it doesn't affect you at all. Like, you can keep behaving the way you are, but I'm going to, for example, remove myself from the situation, or I am going to talk to whoever's above us and say, like, this has got to stop, or I'm going to whatever. And the skillful, like, learning these skills of requests versus boundaries. And then even in that, like, requests, as tech people, it's going to get worse with AI. We're used to, I build something in this way. I write the HTML this way. It's going to display this way. I ask AI to do something. It's going to do it this way. I make an API request. It's going to do it this way almost all of the time. And what's difficult for us in relationships sometimes, and humans, is like, humans don't work like that. And, when it comes to people I care about, like my kids and stuff, it's like, you're like, man, I wish I could just force them to make these decisions. I wish they could. Right? And you can't. It's hard.
It's interesting. Like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Okay.
Well, yeah, like one of the things, my business life, my work life always sort of blends into my personal life and mindset a lot of times. And I feel like if I look back on 25, one of the big themes for me was I think I had, for a couple of years there, I had lost my sense of just trusting my gut and really just being in touch with, like, what do I actually want here? Or what do I want to do? And just letting go of any guilt that I felt like I was doing the wrong thing, or I'm doing the incorrect thing.
Yeah.
When I would really rather just be doing something a certain way that I think is right for me, or for my business, or for my whatever it is. And I think I frankly, as soon as I started getting in touch with that emotion, builder method started working.
Yeah.
But then in my personal life, it's more like I think really everyone in my immediate family, we share the same quality, which is like you said, like, we're very non-confrontational, but we're also very accommodating. It's like, oh, well, like, where do you want to go for dinner? I'll go wherever you want. Like, whatever you want. Let's just go with that. Like, oh, no, you choose. No, you choose. There's a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, just trying to be more just like, well, what do I want? Let's just, like, be a little bit more assertive. Like, go for the thing, and like, and be agreeable, but just do it. Like, it's,
that's a big thing in you. I think that especially happens in your 40s, or maybe it's happened for me as my kids have gotten older, because it creates this space for going, like, when your kids are young, you're basically just accommodating your kids all the time. It's like you got to change some diapers, you got to feed them, you got to put them to bed, it's all accommodating. And once you get out of that phase, and maybe once you get older, I don't know how it all works, but you do start to ask yourself that question, what do I want?
And that's like these days, that is my only advice that I ever want to give to other business owners. Is like, what do you think is right? Do that.
Yeah.
but really do that. Like, my advice is just don't listen to anyone else. Like, maybe take it in, maybe know that it's there, but at the end of the day, the deciding factor has to be like, whatever your first choice was, just go with that. You're probably better off.
My advice would be first to develop incredible instincts, and then do what you want. That's the hard part, but.
There was this old, I remember back to high school when I was studying for the SAT, like the big standardized test that all the high school kids, I don't know if they still take it today, but that was the thing. And the advice that I heard, because it's all multiple choice. It's like, try to just be aware of which choice was your immediate snap, like, oh, it's probably that one. But then once you start thinking about it, that's what can trip you up. At the end of the day, like if it ever comes to like a coin toss, I don't know if it's B or C. If you notice yourself leaning to B first, like, just that's the one.
Yeah. I mean, there is a factor. I think Adam Wathan was talking about this, about, there are certain things that he's built where it's just like he got the inspiration and he built it in 2 hours and it came out and that it hit big.
That is something I notice again and again throughout my life in both work and hobby and everything. The best things come fast.
Yes.
It just happens. It just keeps happening. It's incredible to me. For me, like I write songs, I write music as my hobby. The stuff that I'm most proud of, like, just flowed right out in 3 minutes. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it. And the worst shit is when I hammer on it for weeks. Like products, Agent OS, Design OS, both of those came together in like 4 days initially.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, I got this idea, let me just hack on it. It's just coming. Like it's writing itself. I'm not even like strategically creating it. I just can't even keep up. It's just appearing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
That's the best, because it's like the best solutions are obvious. It just takes you a while to like be aware of it.
They're obvious after like all of the stuff like kind of connects and then starts to click. I've had a couple of reflections and then whatever. Do you have one for yourself in terms of the business, like reflection on 2025 and then where you think it's going to go in 2026?
Well, okay, so I've got a couple different things we could talk about. I don't know where you want to go. There's one thing that's sort of on my mind right now from a marketing perspective.
Okay. Let's go into that.
Okay, so, like YouTube has been my channel, has been my funnel, everything. And builder methods, 100%, it is successful because I have been successful to a certain extent on YouTube. And it's like quite literal. Like, I would say 95% plus of the customers who have purchased this product this year.
Wild.
But they definitely discovered it through the YouTube channel, which is great. I'm excited about that. It's the first time I've ever actually had a channel of any kind sort of really work in this way. So super exciting. I'm absolutely going to keep pushing on that in 2026.
Yeah.
But I do feel, and I don't know if this is just the December jitters getting to my head a little bit with like having a slightly slower week than usual.
Yeah.
But I'm also publishing YouTube videos that are hit and miss, right? Like I published one, 2 videos ago that was sort of a dud, right? And that happens now, like one out of every 4 videos just doesn't do as well, and that impacts my funnel, that results in a slowdown and that slowdown from one bad video might have like long tail effects, because like those subscribers, that's like a lull in subscribers that might last like 3 or 4 weeks past that video, right?
Yeah.
So my hunch, or my notion now that I'm thinking about, is like, I think I need to try to diversify the top of the funnel. And there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that I just haven't done, right? Like, I should be able to take these long-form videos and repurpose them. Like, one stupid easy one, it's been on my to-do list forever, I just haven't gotten to it, is create a blog. Just put up articles on the Builder Methods site and turn my long-form videos, because they are written articles. I wrote the scripts. Like, I could literally just publish the scripts, maybe tweak them to make them article form, and publish those, get some SEO juice, right? Or same
would be
thing
a great
with LinkedIn.
Project even for Builder Methods as a sample project. Here's how I've automated my whole thing and it's all working. And
I mean, and even just like the creation of the blog, like that's been on my list of projects and videos that I should create, I mean, that's one. I'm also thinking about like maybe getting into some ads. Like, I don't know if I would hire someone for that or play around with like some sort of ads funnel into like a free course into Builder Methods Pro or something. Because there's also the logic. If you think about it logically, like, yes, my YouTube based funnel is working with people who watch YouTube.
Yeah.
But people who watch YouTube are not the only people in the world who care about building with AI. There's probably a lot of the people out there who just aren't YouTubers. And, they're probably on LinkedIn or they're probably Googling or they're whatever,
Yeah.
I do need to start to be in more places so that like I can go like week to week and be like, even if I have a hit and miss video, I still have customers discovering it other ways,
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. One is that I can totally identify with that feeling of, there was a time where I had some products that just felt very dependent on whether or not I was going to have another viral article appear on Hacker News. And that feeling of like, this has to work every time. And when it didn't work, the resulting like, leads literally just dried up. Is like, that flywheel was a little bit too dependent on kind of these once in a year kind of events happening, right? And, it's quite common for people who have content businesses to feel that pressure of like, man, my last 5 videos haven't hit. And even more so for people who depend on ads. Like, I know I've YouTube creator friends who are very dependent on the ads from YouTube, and they're just like, damn, like my last 3 months, I haven't had a hit. Like, I went from 100,000 views a video down to 3,000. Like, everything's drying up. I think
tricky. It's like part of it is like operationally. Like again, there are like, I feel like low-hanging fruit, like theoretically it's so simple, right? Like just take the long forms and repurpose them, recut them into all these other posts, right?
Yeah.
That should be so easy. And yeah, I guess I could hire an assistant to help me wire all that stuff together, or I could spend a week. Part of my thought, like next week is like Christmas week, but it's really just like a quiet week around here. I'm not planning on publishing any new YouTube videos next week. So my thought was like, next week is going to be like my optimization week. Like, maybe get that blog fired up, start to do some SEO work, but I really need to think through the process of like, I have the process for creating and editing and publishing a YouTube video. There has to be a post promotion game process, but ideally it would be something as automated as possible where I could just be like, get the last published YouTube video and zap it out to LinkedIn, zap it out to, I don't mean Zapier, but I mean just like automations that get this thing reconfigured into articles, get it cut into shorts, get it distributed.
So here's for me, when I had my marketing was write a blog post that I think will go viral, submit it to Hacker News, get a few friends to upvote it to get it kind of above the noise high water mark, and then just hope that it picked up traction. And that worked a bunch of times. And then I think I was hanging out at a conference. I was speaking at a conference, and at the speaker's dinner, the guy next to me was like, so like, where do you get most of your traffic? And I was like, it's like mostly, at the time, Hacker News, Reddit, and Lifehacker. And he's like, oh, that's weird. He's like, what about search, like search engines? I said, like literally 0 of my business comes from search engines. And the more we talked and the more I was thinking about it, I was like, man, it's nice when the viral things happen. Like that just feels like a byproduct of doing the work. But then I got really committed to just doing things every day that just kind of move the needle when it comes to search engines, when it comes to word of mouth, when it comes, like, I just started to focus on the basics. And I think I can show this chart here. This is just a chart of new customers for Transistor this past year.
Yeah, I remember like a few years back, you just started like publishing like how to podcast or something like that.
Yeah, like wait, and so this is interesting. This is compared to the previous year. So these are our new customers last year. Okay, so some of this is the market, some of this is the economy, some of this is whatever.
For those listening, it's like it looks like the high watermark was like March, April, and then sort of bumpy.
But what's substantial about this is compared to the dotted line, which you see down here.
Yeah, which
this
is like
past year
lower.
Is just significantly higher.
Yeah.
And
it's like new customers up 37% over the previous year.
And what makes the difference? What causes this? And even last year, I mean, last year is showing as lower, right? We're 38% higher this year than last year. But last year was a good year too. It was actually, it's way more consistent year over year than you would think. But we had a nice big boost this year. So what causes the consistency and what causes the boost of growth? And for me, and part of this is just how I naturally work, it's just consistently showing up every day and moving, tending to the garden, planting a few more trees, and just doing it consistently all the time. So, and then evaluating the results. So where do customers come from with Transistor? It's search engines. It's affiliates and partners. It's increasingly ChatGPT and other LLMs. It's increasingly people posting about us on YouTube. So you just start to notice, where did people come from? And then you just keep going, like, what can we do to continue to build on that?
So would you say that like in 2025, all of your like clearly from this graph, what if you were to like zoom out and look at like the last 3 years, you would just see that slow ramp up, 30% or so every year of growth, which means like probably every part of your funnel. So traffic 30% higher, trials 30% higher, which turns into 30% more new customers every year, right?
Yeah.
So would you say that in the past year in 2025, it was just like your existing channels just incrementally grew, or did you do anything that you feel like introduced a new element to your marketing?
For this past year, a lot of it was this accumulation of just doing things consistently. It's just consistently like it.
I'm curious, what do you do consistently now? Like, are you guys, do you have some sort of like rhythm with like new articles that you develop, or like, what's like the cadence now?
I mean, I don't want to share too much, but it's generally, I mean, it's stuff that's kind of shitty to do. It doesn't, it's not the funnest stuff. It's like, hey, I got to go into Reddit and just see what's being posted today. If there's anything I can reply to, if there's anything I can contribute to, if there's any sort of, conversations about Transistor that I need to, pay some attention to. It's like,
and that's all you're doing that.
It's me. It's other people on the team too, but a lot of it's me. A lot of it's just like, yeah, I got to keep posting videos on YouTube. I got to keep publishing blog posts. Now we're not posting a blog post every week. Maybe it ends up being every month. Hey, I got to think about this partnership. Hey, I got to email that person. I haven't talked to that partner in a long time. I'm just going to email them and get an update.
So it's like general motion of just doing things. That could help.
It literally feels like every day I just get up and I just push the rock a bit further down the path. Or I'm pushing that rock. You know, that's the feel. And there's still big swings that we're taking, that we're trying. We're like, okay, let's try to put a bunch of money in this and try this and, see if we can orchestrate something big, like that would be fun.
It's interesting how like we have like a different. I like the sound of what you have going on there, because it's like you do have a diversified set of. You've got the SEO, you've got a lot of word of mouth, you've got some YouTube action, you've got some communities, Reddit, and so on. You've got ChatGPT. So it's like, and you got these partnerships and stuff like that. So it's like, in affiliates. So yes, it might sound like you're sort of just like randomly jumping between different channels and doing different activities. But at the end of the day, that actually adds a diversification of your top of the funnel, like something that I don't have, right? Like for me, I feel like I'm actually on a treadmill where I have to do a YouTube video at least once a week. And also just historically, I've always thought of it. I don't think about it like, even though now I feel like I have a job of doing these YouTube videos, I've always thought about it like, what system can I put in place and then either hire somebody or automate it so that I could work hard on it for a month and then let that blog system keep going all year and have it produce. So that's how I try to think about things theoretically, but it like almost never works that way, Yeah. From a marketing standpoint, I mean.
Yeah. Like, I think the important piece is, well, first of all, I've chosen a set of activities. It is multiple activities, but I've chosen a set of activities that is kind of in my wheelhouse. So even though we've tried ads every once in a while, it's not really my wheelhouse. So I'm not going to, I mean, maybe that could change, but so far I kind of stay in my sweet spot. But that's multiple things. And the nice thing about it is I can almost guarantee you if I did nothing next year, the results would still be pretty good. Now, if I let it kind of degrade for 2 or 3 years, I think, we'd start to see, things would start to fall apart. But it's not like it's a literal flywheel. Like once you get it going, it is, you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, it worked. You go to sleep, you wake up the next day, it worked. Oh, today's the day I'm going to push this a little bit. Maybe that plant will grow, maybe not, but I'll water it and whatever, and water these plants. Okay, go to sleep, wake up. It still works every day once it's moving. And there's just...
It is interesting, like with Clarity Flow, I, not that it's any kind of like raging success, but like, it's no surprise, it's no secret that like I have backed off my activity, especially on marketing this past year. I've done, and we've published almost no new like educational articles or anything on Clarity Flow. But we did invest in that over years, and and we do still get a lot of SEO and a lot of ChatGPT, and we do have some affiliates, but it's like, we did not decline in 2025. It still grew, not a huge rate, but like with pretty minimal activity and no spending on marketing. The word of mouth and the years of investment in SEO, and a lot of the biggest SEO wins were the simplest that I implemented about a year and a half ago, which was like it was not continuously publish new articles about long tail keywords. Like that game, I've tried that so many times and it just never really worked for us. It was more like moving the KB docs to the main site. Like stuff like that, and maybe like optimizing the homepage a bit, and and starting to rank for a few important keywords.
I think the hopeful piece for you in 2026 is just that you've got one thing that's working, and there is a consistency play there too. Like if you just keep publishing videos, even if you publish 10 bad videos in a row, there's just a good chance that if you keep publishing, the 11th or 12th or 13th will get you back on track and you're going again. But there's also just things you can put into place that might be a bit of a bigger lift at the beginning. You get a blog going, and then you've got one blog post, and then that's not much. Then you get 5 blog posts, and then you get 10, and then you get 20, and then you get 40, and then and eventually it just starts working. And
I do start to wonder. Yeah, you're right. I gotta just get some like basic systems processes up and running for that. But another thought, curious to get your feedback on this, is like from a product standpoint, I do wonder about. Okay, so like I just released Design OS today, and I'm pretty excited about this as a product.
Yes.
Like, just as a tool. I really, really think it's fantastic. During the flights to Costa Rica last week, like I literally built another new tool. It doesn't have a marketing site, but it's a tool that I'll be using called Inbox Summaries, which I've got a couple thousand survey responses that I can't physically read, and this thing reads them and summarizes them and gives me reports, pulls out the gems and things like that.
Nice.
Pretty great tool. I designed the whole thing using Design OS. It literally just took a couple of hours, you know.
Yeah.
So Design OS again, I released it as a free open source product, right? Agent OS is also still a free open source product. It always will be. It's true that these tools have driven people to Builder Methods Pro membership. It's probably true that they've sent some people to buy my workshops. But I also think that there are a lot of people who just use the tools and they don't need the membership. You know, and part of me is thinking in 2026, I still believe that Builder Methods Pro, the membership, the community, the educational content library, the support from me and from other members is the big value that I want to be selling and growing in the revenue.
Yeah.
But I do have a thought to introduce like a cloud service, like a SaaSified version of probably both Agent OS and Design OS, maybe like separate, like each would have its own separate cloud service thing. And this is not a play to like, let me see how I can just milk these for some money or monetize them in some way that's not actually valuable. I think each of them actually have some very specific pain points that I hear from people using them, especially Agent OS. Design OS is brand new, but Agent OS, there's a lot of teams who need to have their specs like synced up with the rest of their team and sort of sent into linear issues or sent into Notion or something for their product managers and their marketing team to be able to access. So I do think that there's like an opportunity to offer like it's not like a premium version of Agent OS. It's not like free and premium. It's like the core product will always remain free and open source. Same thing with Design OS.
Yeah.
And not every user will need this cloud service, but especially if you're a team. And I think the same would be true for Design OS. The idea would be like, use the cloud service if you want to share your designs with a team or with clients or with a stakeholder.
Yeah. Dude, this feels like this is going to be your fizzy
That's why I really like their model with that, because that's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, you're going to be.
Well, that's a little bit different though. That's like they have like like I'm not necessarily thinking about offering a hosted version of Agent OS or a hosted version of Design OS. Like if you're going to use it, you will always use it as it currently exists. It's more like I'm trying to think of okay, so like an example would be like Obsidian, the note-taking tool. That's my main note taker that I use. I think that I pay for whatever their premium thing is. It's, I don't know, like $50 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
So for syncing capability, it's like a little like nice benefit that I'm willing to pay for. And there's a couple of other like pretty much free tools where I'm like willing to pay for the thing. And I don't know what the pricing model and everything would be for what I'm talking about here, but like that's the idea where it's like an add-on separate service that might solve some problems for you, but not every user would have them,
Yes.
And so like I guess my thought there is like I would like to keep growing the membership for those who are interested in membership, but it would be also be not, well, on one hand, it's also like, maybe this is something else that like members can also buy. It's not something I would just give to members. It's like, you know, the biggest fans, like, let's find something else that's valuable that they would be willing to buy as well. And then it's like, there's the whole segment of people who just aren't interested in the membership, but they're very interested in Agent OS.
Yeah.
You know?
I really like this idea. I'm not sure if you're going to address this pain, but here's the pain I kind of see in teams. And like I said, I'm talking to lots of teams here at Cowork Vernon and seen lots of teams that are struggling with this, which is if you are a product manager there's a fellow here, product manager at an established software company that's more enterprise. He's excited about AI. He's bought in. He's like, we need to do this. What tools does he have at his disposal to convince the rest of the team? He can send them articles. He can send them YouTube videos. But what they really need is like a wizard, an onboarding wizard app that would say, hey, welcome to the AI team. Let's just start by you entering your role. Okay, well, I'm the senior CTO. Okay. What's your, I'm the product manager. Okay. And you get everyone to enter the role. And then it says, okay, what are your apprehensions about this? And then they enter all their apprehensions. And then, okay, what are you kind of want to do? Like, do you want to move faster? Get all that and help giving people the tools to onboard their team. To me, Design OS kind of feels like that in a way. Like when I look at the structure, I go, man, that would be like, it feels like people would pay for some form of online version of that. That's just like, or even like I would pay for. It
sounds like what you're describing is like an automated online self-serve coaching or self-serve like get comfortable with using AI.
Even like Agent OS. The questions I have are like, can somebody just help me to kind of onboard into this way of doing things? So the whole idea of Agent OS is it gave you a structure and a process for saying, here, identify, how you build code here, identify what's important to you. This is where you put it, all that kind of stuff. And it still feels like a lot of people need that onboarding step. There's people that are professional developers who are in your target market who are like, I just need to either onboard myself and my project into this, like figure out how I'm going to do this. And I need to figure out how I'm going to onboard my team. And I think you're really hitting on more like,
I feel like you're hitting more on, and this is also something that's on my mind lately is like, it's more about, this is more on like the membership side and the training side and the workshops side, right? Where it's like, I have to keep reminding myself that like, there are so many people, professionals in our industry who are still so rudimentary when it comes to using AI. I'm a big fan of that company, Every.
Yeah.
Dan Schipper's thing. And in some ways, like I guess you might consider them a competitor to what I'm doing in Builder Methods, but they're much further ahead, much larger, and I really respect what they're doing. I think they do really great work.
Yeah.
But I think that they published something about how they do a lot of like team consulting with AI adoption.
Yeah.
And what they wrote like really matched a lot of what I've heard in my conversations with individuals, but also especially team leads, where it's like, it's almost like pretty surprising how like there's like a lot of like people at these companies who just don't even know that you could even choose between multiple models in these tools, or like what, knowing what is the difference between using something like Opus versus Gemini, or like even just like the basics of using like Claude Code, like if you're in it every day, these things feel like they're so simple and rudimentary. But like if you're an everyday engineer working on a big product, you're probably too busy to even care about this stuff.
Yeah.
So you just don't have exposure to it, which then translates to a lack of organization across your company, and a lack of initiative to make this a thing. Like, so there's just a lot of inertia around, like, is that the word? Like a lot of like, let's just keep doing what we've always been doing. Why do we have to change everything? You know?
And so like, and also just inertia in terms of how would we ever get started?
Yeah.
How do I get started? Like, how there's so many questions, and there's a lot of questions you've identified. By the way, Pascal in chat says, quote, "Can someone onboard me into this AI process?" He goes, yes. Like he's feeling that same pain.
Yeah, like it has me thinking about like what the next few videos I might do on the channel are just like I should just do some more like basic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of my best performing stuff has been like basics of using Claude Code, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's just an interesting, like when you think about what people will pay for, and even thinking about, like, let's go back to the once model. What one-time software products would you pay for, or have I paid for in the past? You know, in the old days, I would pay for audits. Like, hey, audit my whole site for, you know, it could be an automated audit even, but I'm just paying you to get a one-time report on, give me the report. Or SEM, is it SEM Rush? Used to have this, like, if you didn't want to pay for the whole subscription, you could just pay for one automated downloadable report. This feels like somebody in chat, Steve says process kit. That's what people want. It kind of is that. Like, if honestly, like today, if there was a thing I could go and pay, I don't know what it is, one time, $25, $50, whatever. And it just says, okay, just tell me about your world. And I go, I
think what you're describing would be hard to automate, I would say.
Maybe,
I think what you're describing really is more of the pain point that the private team consulting thing would. Like, I just sold one of these for January, working with a team, doing a private workshop for them. But that's, I think the way that works is to make it more personalized. So like the structure of that engagement is a discovery call, talking to the leadership team. Tell me about your top questions. Tell me about your current workflows. What are you guys working on? And then I'm gonna take what I learned on that and put together a custom tailored private workshop just for your team to watch. And then we'll have like a week of like open Q&A, you know?
Yes.
But like that, and that's like tailored to them. And that's something that I think I'll hope to repeat in 2026 for other teams that come through. But like then like the lighter version of that, the less spendy version of that would be like pay for seats in Builder Methods Pro, join us here. And frankly, in Builder Methods Pro, like I do need to develop more. I have a pretty large library now, but I need to develop more structure. Like, all right, there's a couple of tracks. Like, hey, we're new, or we're a team, or we're in new product mode, or we are in established code base mode. And there's got to be like a learning path or an onboarding path of content and maybe exercises that I can like give you.
Not just content. See, here's the thing. I think these kind of onboarding wizardy type things are almost better in an AI world than they were before, which was like, there have been these kinds of tools where you answer a bunch of questions and then it gives you a recommendation. For you, we recommend this or whatever.
But wouldn't that recommendation lead to, for you, we recommend Claude Code. Now go watch my training on Claude Code.
It could, but I think it could go deeper. Like there are some things you've realized that I think a person may or may not even think to answer. So let's go back to your example of, I'm a Ruby on Rails developer. I've always done things the Ruby on Rails way. I'm getting into AI and you're onboarding me with your automated AI wizard. And then, so you ask a question, what have you built with? Here's my stack. There could be an interstitial there where it goes, just stop and consider right now. I know you've always built things this way, but in this new AI world, one thing you may want to consider that was apocryphal before is maybe consider a React front end. I know. And like, you just have some content that's an interstitial that I think somebody getting into it might just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to I'm going to fire up Claude and just do things the way I always have. And to have some smart, guided, shaped,
are you talking
onboarding,
like automated or like
automated,
one to one?
So I think like using AI, but directing the AI in a way that's saying like, listen, like, I just know these are some things that are going to come up. So here, let's just identify there's a few gotchas. There's a few things that people miss.
I have seen that, there's a thing now where like people who run these big membership sites or course educational companies, they add like a chat bot that's like trained on all of their content and their wisdom, right? Like I was looking at Jay Klaus's stuff. I think he, like, one of the benefits is you get access to his custom tailored, maybe there's some value in that. I haven't really tried it, but I tend to think that like, okay, it's just a smarter way to read the docs, right?
Yeah. I do think that I think there's something here that is still like getting personalized recommendations and just having, maybe I'm wrong about how you deliver it, but
well, I just think
I have personally still found the cold start problem is a big thing with AI.
No, I think what you're definitely describing is very valid, but to me, the more obvious and urgent thing that I need to develop on that front is better and better organized content in Builder Methods Pro. And I get requests for it from members, and like up until now, for the first 4 months of it, I've just been in sheer like grow the volume, just put stuff in there so that there is stuff to be had when you become a member, right? But I think one of my next phases is to like start to introduce categories of like I did one pretty educational video last week called The Builder Method. And I want to build on that as like a concept and maybe make that more of like a learning path. I do want to do more like full app builds, like design and build, and really just document every step of the way. I consider these like ride-alongs, but then I do want to have like a whole library of shorter videos that are just like basics of Claude Code, basics of Cursor, basics of how to do this or that. Like quick hit, like quick answers, but like from my take on it, like here's what you need to know.
Yes.
Filtering out the noise, just here's what matters, and then maybe using what you're talking about, like a little bit more smart routing, navigational stuff. And that could use AI, that could just be simple UI stuff. As you're a new member, you're onboarding, click a few boxes, let me recommend a learning path for you,
Yeah. I see the other value with AI seems to be custom kind of models that are kind of shaped and trained on either. So in your case, you have this community knowledge. I don't know.
That's the other thing.
I don't know what you can build that can suck up all the community knowledge. Like,
yeah. And I even just want to do like more, like very, I feel like I don't need to really reinvent the wheel here. It's more like there's a lot of like low hanging fruit that I just still need to do. So like one is just, I really want to start to do like office hours, right? Just a couple times a month, assemble groups, like, and definitely have one just for teams, one just for startups, one just for technical people, one just for non-technical people, right? And like these can be groups that anyone can attend, and we'll record them, make the recordings available to the rest of the people. And that can produce more knowledge, and that can produce more training content for a smart chatbot. But the essence of that is just talk to the members more and and learn what the needs are.
Yeah.
I mean, getting back to the thing, like there's a channel inside of the Discord for Builder Methods Pro called Teams, right? And this week there have been a few team leaders in there chatting about their pain points and their needs and their wants for getting Agent OS, used across their entire team. And like, this is fuel that I want to dig in with them. But like that, it's that kind of thing. I've heard it again and again from other people, especially from team leaders, where I'm like, I think that there could be like a cloud service component that can tie into Agent OS to solve that specific problem. And then like the other thing is like, I do have all of these survey responses in my inbox, like thousands. And I just built this tool. I'm still finishing it up right now, but it's called Inbox Summaries. And my idea with that is it will automatically ingest all the survey responses and also all the replies to my newsletter. And it'll answer a few key questions. Like if it's a survey, let's say it's a survey that asks like, what's your biggest pain point with adopting AI? And it probably has a couple different questions. I'm going to get a single email like once a week that just gives me the summary. Like, okay, the last batch of 100 survey responses, these are the top pain points that they're reporting. And then this is how those are trending from previous weeks. And so like, and then it's like, I can actually start to use these insights from all this feedback that I'm getting.
That's actually good kind of product idea inspiration is, what are some things that I might do with AI manually that if they were automated would become way more useful? So like I do these welcome emails to all our new customers and people reply to them. And every once in a while I'll go in manually and summarize, where are most people coming from? What's motivating most people? But if that was an automated process, that was just like every week I get a summary email and it tells me what's trending this week versus last week and what's trending overall, that just becomes so much more useful. And, I've experienced the utility by manually typing it into a AI chatbot, but now I need that automated.
I mean, I'm at the volume now where it's just like, and I'm sure the same is true for you, where it's like, you could spot check, you could just pick out individual emails and get a sense for what one or two people might have said. But really we should be able to, so this tool will ingest and read and give me the summary. The other thing that it will do is I called this feature gems. It will pull out the gems. So, and this happens actually a lot, and it's a problem where I have it categorized in my inbox, right? Where all the surveys land, and I just see that number going up and up and up. And that just makes me, frankly, like less and less likely to go in there and actually read them because there's just so many. But what does happen from time to time is somebody will use that, usually the reply to the email, the reply to the newsletter, they will use that opportunity to send me a very important question or a very important inquiry. Like, hey, my team of 400 people wants to hire you for a thing, or like, hey, I'm thinking about buying a membership. But can I do this? Like, or hey, I need an invoice for this, or I want a refund for this purchase. There have been multiple times now where people follow up on a different subject line and say like, I tried emailing you and you didn't read my response. Because it was in the big pile of survey responses.
So this will, I pull those out.
So this will so you give it like criteria for like, if someone ever asks for a refund, or if someone ever is inquiring about a client engagement, flag that gem.
Yes. Okay. This concept that you've applied in this direction, brilliant. I think lots of people would have things that regularly land in their emails that they need summarized in this way. It feels like you could also take this exact concept and point it in a different direction. Like if this became a Discord bot that goes through all the discussions and it highlights kind of the key discussions and the gems, and then that becomes your weekly newsletter to members.
I actually did design the app to work not just for emails. So you can have it just forward emails into this app and it'll summarize them, but it also works with webhooks. And you can also upload CSVs. So if you're getting like a lot of data, it's a way to summarize and analyze large amounts of data. And if you if you can fire data into it using a webhook, then that works too.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I like it. We should probably wind down here. One thing I will say I'm considering for 2025, it points to what Pascal was saying. I had this as a note. So Pascal is like, I'd rather them spend more time understanding buyer psychology, building a marketing practice. That there's a fever. So I think he's just talking about different pain points that people have with building AI. And this has been, I've thought about rewriting and relaunching marketing for developers multiple times. This is the first time I felt like I've got a new angle that I think is going to become relevant, which is your Discord is filled with developers that are building products. And the next step after that is, okay, it's like, how do I market it? How do I get distribution?
Oh, interesting. Justin's got a book in him for 2026.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Maybe rewriting marketing for developers would be an interesting project. And
yeah, especially now.
Yeah. In an AI world. So rewriting it for AI, in an AI world, making that the lens.
By and for AI.
Yeah. By Justin and Claude.
Right. Co-authored by Claude.
But yeah, I think there's something there that's interesting to me. And I mean, I could even take some of my own medicine here, which is like, is there a more interactive way of delivering that would be interesting? And it could just be that the answer is always, like in an AI world, some form of human connection is what's going to win. So it might mean I need to I started off with marketing for developers doing workshops like you've been doing. Maybe I do just a couple of workshops where just like, hey, here we are. We're going to work through all the issues. So let's get cracking here.
I'm curious. I know like 5 o'clock always rolls around when we're recording this, and then we end up going for like another 30, 45 minutes.
That's okay.
All right. So I want to ask you about this. It does sound like you have a book in you. It does sound like you obviously it's something you're passionate about with marketing for developers, marketing for SaaS, and thinking about the world and where we're going and with AI and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My question for you is, what's your motivation to do a big project like that? Like you have Transistor,
mm-hmm.
which is a podcasting company. Are you in the mindset going into 2026 that like you do want to diversify or get back to your roots of like Justin's personal brand audience offerings? Like it's one thing for us to hop on this podcast and talk about business. It's sort of just for fun. And yeah, it has some business effects, some benefits for us, sure. But like it's easy. We could just hop on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But writing a whole book, that is hard.
I mean,
not just the writing of it, but marketing it and growing and making it a thing.
If
right?
I did it, it would be a rewrite of the existing book. So it would be
that's still a big project.
It's a big project for sure.
Even with Claude, it's still a big project to ship anything like that.
Absolutely.
So what is your thinking in terms of like how important is that in your whole portfolio and all that?
Yeah, that's what stopped me from doing it for sure. Is just I reached out to a few people. Like at one point, Arvid Kahl and I were talking about rewriting it together when he was really focused on writing books. I was like, oh, that'd be nice if I had a co-author and, we could write it together. That would be, that would help. In terms of motivation, I think I've just even since when Transistor started, I got rid of a lot of my side projects when Transistor started, but I kept some things. And I also kept starting new things every year. Part of it is just to keep myself sharp, to have other things in play, especially when you have a main thing, any side thing you do often just becomes additive to the main thing. So, if I rewrote marketing for developers, certainly there'd be a lot of discussion about Transistor, and that becomes its own kind of virtuous cycle.
I would be interested in your work on that because you also do a really good job of turning other people's stories into case studies. I've always like, even just in your blog posts, you've always done this, and I've always been really impressed with it.
Well,
like
thanks.
Almost every blog post you do, you have like 2 or 3 specific examples of other people, and that kind of thing is really, I know how much like extra time that takes. Like anyone can just like write up their thought on something. That's what I do. I don't take the time to find examples. So if you were to turn that into a book form, it would be, I think it would be interesting to me if you had if you spend some months in 2026, maybe doing workshops, but also like doing either private or public interviews with other SaaS founders and marketer and seeing what's working in marketing.
Like get Lars Lofgren.
And like,
that would be
just
sweet.
like interesting case studies of like how the marketing game is changing in 2026.
Lars, especially, if folks aren't following Lars, you got to follow Lars. He's posting a lot more.
What he sends like once every like 2 months, but when he sends something, it's like, oh shit, that's so good.
I'm finding he's really good on LinkedIn. His stuff on LinkedIn is just, and he's always been very raw and no bullshit. Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not committing to it. I'm just saying I every year I look at marketing for developers. Like the site's still up and it still makes sales. But like if you go
the other angle to it is that like now, so like marketing for people who would be interested in marketing for developers are developers who are starting up new products, like MVPs. They're trying to hustle on a startup, right? So you're probably not selling to companies, maybe some marketing strategy for companies, but like I would think that like your audience, buying the book Marketing for Developers, like I'm a developer who's trying to sell a new product that I'm hacking maybe on the weekends. So the new angle that's probably very different in 2026 from when you first wrote it is that like you could build that product in a week now. It didn't used to be. So like it's like marketing is even more, it's always been important, but like building the product is so the easy part now.
Yes. Well, and some of this stuff has gotten reversed. Like if you look at the existing marketing page for it, it takes you through this whole process, right? Start, build it, marketing stack, pre-launch, launch, and grow. But part of the book was to say, by the time you build something, like you should already know that people want it. But AI kind of flips things a little bit, which is that now instead of like you can actually build something that clearly, like at least that works, that you can demo, that you can show people, and to see. It's fun. Even in chat, people are like, people want me to do this, so they're saying, take my money. But to get a response, like, okay, and I think even about like,
the days of like the fake product or just the landing page thing, like why do that when you can just have
and you can fail faster, which is so you think about like some of the other SaaS things I've tried, and some of those were just things like me scratching my own itch, things I wanted to build. You can get those out of your system so much faster now. Like you can get it out and then you will immediately feel either the pull from the market, like people want this and they're showing up, or like it just seems like this is not, and I mean, that was so clear with FilterHawk. I was looking at FilterHawk and it reminded me of SwagFan, this app I built for myself to solve my own pain, but we launched it as a SaaS app because I hired a student to give him a summer job and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking like, man, SwagFan now, that would be like not a 4-month project that costs me, I paid him pretty good. I just give him a job. So I don't know, let's maybe say it costs $15,000, $20,000. Now you can build that, launch it, try it out, and then, and so in terms of placing bets, it's interesting.
And then even like someone like that, like like that. He was like a young guy that was working on that with you, right? So like, if you think about the world today, this circles back to what the junior level people have to deal with. I think that was probably a case of like, hey, like you're trying to get get a foot in the door as a early developer, a builder of stuff. Like now, what a younger person really actually does need is marketing chops. Like, because you can, they probably can and are doing the vibe coding stuff, or just building stuff. Like that's the easy part, especially for a young person. But if you can market it, and even if marketing just means being able to create like a legit marketing site and a marketing funnel, it doesn't even have to really be done. It doesn't have to sell a lot, but that could be enough to be a noteworthy project that gets you noticed by a company. It's like, yes, you didn't just build a thing, you also marketed it.
Yes.
Right? And that just shows that, again, like you were wearing multiple hats. You're not just a product person. You know how to follow through and actually ship, like capital S, ship something. You know? Shipping most of that is not even the product. It's like the marketing site, the funnel, like how do we communicate this, right?
Yeah. How do we get this out? Yeah. All right. Well, I'll think about it with 2026. If you want me to rewrite marketing for developers, let me know. Go check out Brian's this new Design OS. It's launched. I didn't think this would be available for a while. I've been wanting to get this going, so I'm going to check this out. Maybe even today.
I did. So there's like a long YouTube video on it, but this morning I also did like literally a 30-second video.
Yes,
that I put up on Twitter.
Yeah. I watched that today. I think you did a good job, because that was part of the problem. Is it was like a long video, but to quickly and succinctly.
Yeah, I was able to take the B-roll that I used for the long one, and I turned that into the short one. So
sweet. Well, Brian, have a good holiday, man. Merry Christmas.
Buddy. Yeah.
Happy 2026.
Right. Yes. I guess we'll probably do this again in 2026.
Yeah. I think we should keep going. This has been fun. I realized that because I just read my 2024 review, that it was at the end of the year last year that we decided to do this. So that's right. This was a whole year project, 2025.
Yeah. Wow.
We've published, this is episode 20, I can't tell now. 29 or something like that. But
yeah, I wonder how, let's make a prediction of like how many episodes in 2026 will actually have guests on the panel.
Yeah, chat. What's your guess? How many guests will I'm guessing we'll realistically we'll get 5 or 6. That's my guess.
Yeah, probably.
But but maybe the marketing for developers thing will light a fire under my butt, and I'll be like, well, I could just invite Lars to be on the panel, and then we've got Lars Lofgren chatting with us for a bit. So maybe we could do it that way too.
For sure.
All right,
folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.
Bye.